Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's good? Welcome to Strasbourg Steve for another Serie A and Supercoppa Italiana preview show. I got my boys, some of my Milan buddies with me, Hans,
Yo,
and Rock from Milan Lab. How are y'all doing today? Hope you're doing well.
yeah, I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me,
Of
Steve.
course, bro. Of course.
Do-
Rock, how you been, bro? How you
Doing
been?
great, man. Happy New Year to everyone.
Cheers to that.
Healthy
100%.
and happy New Year ahead. Thanks for hosting.
No. Thank you for joining, bro. Thank you. I'm trying to make, like I said, trying to make this Serie A thing a weekly occurrence on the channel. Doing pretty good. Got like 3 or 4 straight downs. So, but yeah, let's just get straight into it, boys. So we'll go over briefly what happened on match day 18. So let's talk about some games more than others. Starting off on Saturday with Empoli Genoa and Parma Monza. That's the Saturday morning doubleheader. Both games were actually really good to watch. Genoa got off to a 2-0 lead. They look a lot better under Vieira. Empoli did push and definitely made it complicated for Genoa. So good win for them there. Away from home. And then Parma Monza, the watch long for this game. It was absolute chaos. So this game started out with Monza having about 5 chances in the span of 5 minutes. I shit you not. Maldini hit the crossbar on a wide open shot. Then there was a disallowed goal. Then there was a possible penalty check. So this game was absolute chaos. Monza have a new manager. They fired Nesta, so they got Bocchetti in there. Yeah, it was a really good game. Parma at the death got the win there. I don't know if you guys saw either of those two games, but these relegation games, Hans, I keep telling people these relegation games in Serie A are just madness because both teams.
Yeah, they really go for it. They really go for it in the relegation battles. They
Were you
they let their
surprised
hair
that?
down and they attack.
Were you surprised at either of the results?
I mean, I looked at the results. I mean, the Parma one seemed absolutely insane.
It was a
Honestly, when I looked
crazy
at like
game.
all the things that happened there, like there were some, wasn't there like red cards and things like that, like going on?
Yeah, so Pablo Mari got 2 yellows. So the problem was, and I said this on the watch along at the time, big up Andon as well. I'll send you the link in 2 seconds. Um, the thing with the Parma game was, basically, what was it? All of their back three of Monza going into the second half, all three of them were on yellows, and Parma weren't attacking great. But that was obviously it's not a good thing to have all your back three on yellows. And eventually, Mari committed a foul and a penalty, and then Parma converted that, and then they pushed and pushed and pushed. Monza had some chances when they brought in Jiric, the big Bosnian guy, kind of looks like me with the what's it called, the fucking man bun. He came on and was just direct. He was causing chaos in Parma's goal. But yeah, it was a really entertaining game. So big up to Parma for finally winning. They've been struggling a bit recently. Um, so yeah, that's those two games done and dusted. Cagliari Inter. I mean, Inter just keep on winning, guys. This is it's. I don't really know what to say about it. They weren't great first half. I don't know if you guys watched the game. Rock, I think you were because you were in the chat on the Milan Lab WhatsApp. But yeah, Inter didn't play great the first half. Cagliari kept it competitive, but then the quality of Inter just kind of shone through. What do you think about that, Rock, the game?
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. I thought maybe Calgary could have done something after watching that first half. I thought that Inter
Right.
looked a little sluggish and they weren't connecting as quickly and being as effective as they typically are in the final third in that first half. So I kind of got my hopes up a bit. But of course, as usual, Inter just kind of dashes your hopes and they find a way. Things start to
Yeah.
click. They're really able to capitalize on momentum. I've noticed about them, like they get a few strings of passes and good passages of play. They piece that together, and all of a sudden there's momentum like shifted completely, and they're at the races. So just another case of Inter doing what Inter do best, I guess. Unfortunately.
Oh yeah, no, and you're right. That first half from Coyote was actually pretty good. The funniest thing that happened was Yerry Mina grabbing Thuram's balls. And Coyote's manager, Davide Nicola, knew that his player definitely got away with a red card because that was, well, I don't know if it's violent conduct, but pretty fucking sexual at the least. And but you know what? He didn't even get a yellow for it. And he did grab him. It's actually a replay, so that actually is violent conduct because I mean you're grabbing a man's balls. That for me is violent conduct. But Davide Nicola was smart to kind of bring off Mina, even though he had a good first half. Ogello was pretty good on that left hand side for Coyote, but you're right. When Inter knew that they survived the first half pretty much, they didn't have too many chances. Lautaro missed a sitter as well. But yeah, the quality of crossing from Inter from the right centrally was outstanding. So they found a way to win again at a tough place at times. Çalhanoğlu got a penalty as well. So and Lautaro scored. So
Yeah,
well done.
one thing I'm really hoping that Milan is able to replicate is the spirit and energy that Inter is able to produce. Like what I've noticed is despite Lautaro and certain players going through a tough period or even a goal drought, I guess you would call it,
Or even when the opposition's trying to wind them up.
they
Like
they
Mina,
never lose focus and
never crumble.
they never stop running for each other and putting themselves into positions to help each other.
Yeah.
Like Lautaro he's a superstar, right? He's on a super high wage and he's going through a drought. He could be a prima donna and get depressed and stop running and stop pressing, but he doesn't. And I would like to see us with Conceição replicate that kind of mindset where it's like, who cares? Like I'm playing for the team, not for myself.
Yeah. No, I
So,
think that's spot on to be honest. But yeah, so Inter got a crucial win in the three-way title race between Atalanta, Napoli, and Inter. And then the next game we'll talk about, which I'm sure I think you were watching. I missed most of the game because I was hanging out with the girlfriend, but caught some of it on my phone. They got banned on my guy as well. Another Milanista in the building. But yeah, this game, from what I saw, we had a really good first half. Controlled play, physically outworked Atalanta, had some good chances really early, but didn't take all of them. Deli Bashiru, though, had a great game, in my opinion, and he got the goal as well. Some of the stats, 11 shots to 14. We had more on target, 5-4. The possession was like 40-60. But yeah, we honestly, second half did drop off a bit, and Atalanta just have, like you were talking about, their rock with the Inter mentality that they just never give up. Like, yeah, Atalanta weren't able to turn it around, but that second half, they just showed so much spirit and they got something out of the game when they were second best for a good amount of it. What'd you think of the game?
yeah, no, I thought Lazio was controlling the match for large swaths of the match, particularly the first half and portions of the second half, larger portion, a
Once
larger.
Atalanta made their subs, it made the difference.
Yeah, it was surprising. Gasperini's doing that quite often, actually, where he's benching a lot of starters or players that you would expect to start and then bringing them in later. Maybe he's managing, fitness levels and injuries.
Has to be. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be right. But yeah, I thought Lazio was going to come away with the win because Atalanta took such a long time to get going. But kind of similar to Inter, once they started having larger portions of possession in midfield and they started winning some of those balls in midfield, momentum kind of swung back in their direction a little bit, and
Yeah.
they managed to get the draw.
Yeah. Do you think this is going to hurt Atalanta? Because this is drop points, and they did win 10 Serie A games in a row before this. Andon, what did you think about it? I don't know if you watched the game, but is this going to damage? Is this going to be a game they regret that they didn't get 3 points in, or what you saying, Andon?
I mean, they played Lazio away, so even a draw is not a bad result for them. They were sleeping in the first half, but in the second half they woke up. They scored a goal. They didn't. They went undefeated. So and they're still first. So honestly, it's not a bad result considering where they played. So I don't think they're gonna regret this game. Although I do think in the second half of the season they're gonna start dropping some points because of the more busy schedule they're gonna have, more difficult games in
Yeah.
Europe. So, but still, it's a very good result. It was an interesting game, and 1-1 was the, let's say, realistic score. First half was dominated by Lazio, second by Atalanta.
Yeah.
In the end, it went for a draw. So it's good for both teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
Good for
think
Milan too.
Go
i
on.
i in terms of the mentality and for the title race, like purposes of the title race, I actually do think that that result is going to hurt Atalanta. Just
Mm,
because, yeah, just because I saw that they really struggled to wrestle back any type of control or management of the match, and that's something they're not used, a position that they haven't been used to being in this season. And then on the flip side of that, Inter winning 3-0. I do think Gasperini also like these kind of benching certain starters and then bringing them in, like he's trying to manage things, and then the team isn't managing it on the field. So I actually do think
mm,
that result is going to hurt them mentally.
mm. Yeah, and also considering what Inter did to Lazio at our ground, if you
Yeah,
compare, I mean, Inter got 6 goals,
yeah.
and
Like
then
I
and
ag-
then yeah,
I agree with Andon in terms of points and an away game. In terms of like the result, I think it's a fair result and it's a fine
yeah,
result. I think it's the performance that's going to get into Atalanta's head. They didn't have a good overall performance. They did not dominate or
yeah.
manage the game well.
Yeah, that's where I feel good on the Lazio side of things because I thought we was gonna lose like a 3-2 sort of thing. Because after the Inter game, I'm like, not sure if we can take on the best of the best at home. But to be fair to us, we did not, didn't do too many things wrong in that game. We showed that we were at a similar level, I guess, to Atalanta on the day, which we didn't show against the fucking Jesus Christ, against Inter. So yeah, and it was a good point for us considering also that what's it called? Fiorentina and Juve drew below us, so we maintain that lead over Fiorentina at the moment. Um, 3 points above them and Juventus. So I was happy with the point. Obviously, heartbroken that it came at the 88th minute, but yeah, it was. And the pass from Lookman was a really good pass because he could have shot there, and that might have been the wrong choice, but he just had to
Hmm.
look up to the right. So smart play there. And eventually, I just felt during that game like, yeah, they're gonna fucking score. They're gonna score. So not a terrible result for Lazio or Atalanta. I'd agree with that.
Lazio would have been within 2 points of Inter if they won, or how close would that have gotten you guys?
Well, that would have. Let's check it out right here. So let's say we won the game. You take a point away from Atalanta, and you give 2 to Lazio. We would have been 3 points behind Inter and Atalanta. Yeah,
Yeah, you guys would have been within striking distance.
yeah,
I thought you
yeah.
could have done it, honestly. That first half,
Needed that second goal.
you
Whole
guys
second
looked
half. I was like,
really
we need the
you
fucking
guys
goal.
looked really good and strong in midfield, and I had a feeling that some of your players would start to gas out because of how much ground they were covering, and that's kind of what happened. In the second
Yeah,
half, you could tell your midfielders got tired.
yeah, yeah. I thought Baroni overall did not a bad job with the subs. Like, I don't think one sub really like change the game for the negative. You're right. As a unit, we did get a bit gassed out. I'd agree. So, but yeah, it was a really good game. It was definitely a really good game. And like I said, I'm happy that we got something out of it. Would have wanted the 3, obviously, but it's whatever. Udinese Torino 2-2. Udinese looked good in this one. They were up 2-0 for a while, but Torino got 2 quick goals. So they need points because they're starting to slip up a bit. Torino. Napoli Venezia. I watched this one. Not a game I'd recommend for people to watch. It was not a pretty game. Venezia defended really well. Their goalkeeper Stankovic made some great saves. They actually didn't look half bad in the game. Venezia, going forward, they didn't offer much. Got outshot 25-4. But yeah, in the end, Raspadori does make the difference, and this is what getting Conte to your team gives you. It gives you these 1-0 wins against teams if you're just not on your day. So what did you think of this? Were you surprised it was only 1-0?
Nah, I think this is what you expect from Conte and Napoli. This is what you get from Conte. You don't get beautiful football and lots of goals, but you do get victory. And this is Napoli for the, let's say, 80% of the season. They're gonna win games like this, 1-0, 2-0. Not very beautiful game to watch, but they get the job done. Solid defensively, you cannot get through them. They're gonna score some goal and they're gonna win the game. So this is typical what anybody can expect from Conte. And I think in the end, I think in the end they're still gonna win the title if they continue like this, if they avoid injuries, because Napoli is the team that don't play any Europe. Inter is gonna get into difficult games in Europe. Atalanta is gonna get into difficult games in Europe.
And the Copa as well. They're still both
Yep.
in it.
So Napoli has literally a clear path to the Scudetto.
So you think they're gonna? So right now you're saying Napoli are your kind of favorites. You expect them to win it.
Yeah, with Conte on the bench, yeah. It's all about for them. They have a good coach. They have a coach that knows how to win the title. He won it multiple times in the same exact. Even when he won the titles with Juventus, you didn't see him for most of the part playing beautiful football. He won it like this: 1-0 victories, 0-0, 1-0, 2-0. His game is based on a solid defense, and you can see they have the best defense in Serie.
Yeah,
and it's good for them.
Yeah, so that was like we were saying, that's a classic green to Vic. But yeah, they were not good in this game, but that's what champions do. They win games that they don't really play great in. But Venezia did make it tough. This one, another big game from last match week, Juve Fiorentina. Juve played well in this game, and Fiorentina didn't offer too much going forward, but they were clinical. They took the chances when they needed to. Thuram was obviously brilliant besides the brace. But we're just getting Hans, bro. We've been talking about this for a minute, bro. Juventus, these draws. How many draws are they at in the league now?
11.
That's 11.
I was gonna say like 15. I don't know. First of all, this is going to continue, right? I don't think that they're going to lose 5 games this year in the Serie, but can I guarantee you they're going to draw 5 more? Absolutely. That's going to cost you. That's going to cost. When you take a 2-0 lead against Fiorentina, who they've been traditionally dominant at home against, and you play well. This isn't like the game where Juve are playing Lecce a few weeks ago and played like shit, and they got the 1-1 draw. This isn't like the game that they had against Venezia where they were shit and they deserved to lose on the balance of play, but they got the Levovic goal. This must be just so frustrating because they played well in the game, but they could not hold on to that lead. I mean, Hans, what do you think? These draws are going to cost them something. Yeah, of course. They're not going to, I think, seriously challenge for the title at all.
I think that was gone.
Top four also starting to become at risk, just like Milan. They're down there with us basically. The Bremer injury really affected them negatively, and then I don't know what they were doing honestly with that Mercato. I think they spent so much of that money was spent on the wrong type of targets. I think like the Gonzalez in particular and Douglas Luiz. I think those targets, they spent a lot of cash on them, and they don't have a striker really. They have Vlahovic, who's missing a lot.
That's it.
And that's it. Milik is out. Weah is not really a pure striker necessarily. Yildiz is the same thing. Very talented teenager, but you can't expect him to play, the number 9 position and to
Yeah.
win you games consistently.
Yeah.
So that's the big problem. I don't know why they spent so much money on that when they had Coop Miners coming in. I don't know what Douglas Luiz was there for because they got Thuram, and he had a great game in this one. Apparently, two goals.
Played well as well. I
Yeah, he
watched.
played well. I watched this game.
Yeah.
So he's getting into the groove. He's settling into Serie, this young French player, fairly young French player that Milan were linked to as well.
So
Yeah, go ahead, Rock.
I want to
I'm-
comment on this game because I actually did watch this game.
Yeah.
And I'll briefly comment on not only are they getting many draws, but a lot of them are goals conceded after the 80th minute,
Yeah.
which is, extremely frustrating for players. But I do want to say something controversial.
Mm.
I think it is time to begin questioning Mata.
Alta. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to begin to question him because these late equalizers, I am seeing just total capitulation from Juventus players in terms of leadership on the pitch. They are not speaking to each other. No one is stepping up to take a leadership role and talk to the players to lock it down. Mata is like kind of quiet at the end of games, like nervously quiet. And I'm really starting to question the type of leadership he's showing and like his ability to literally like get some of the senior players on the pitch to step up and be leaders for him on the pitch. Like you need soldiers, and I don't see him identifying who are like the lead soldiers in his team, and you can tell that they don't know who they should look to on the pitch for
Who
leadership
would you
on the
look
field.
to if you were looking at this squad?
Well, I
Who
would think someone like Gatti would step up. Someone like Coop Miners, who's a nationally capped player, like to step up. I would expect Vlahovic,
Vlahovic.
the highest paid player on the pitch, to step up, and
Yeah.
I'm not seeing that, and I'm also not seeing Mota demand that from them either. Like the end of that game from Juventus was such a major collapse and capitulation of leadership. It was abysmal. Their players were not speaking. They were clearing the ball like ridiculously, like making contact on the ball that was directly harming them. It was Conceição was attacking when they're supposed to be
That's the
defending a
biggest problem
lead.
I have. That's the biggest problem I have with this kid Conceição.
I'm like
is
Mota, like,
just-
and I didn't see Mota yet. Like, listen, if Conceição is not listening to Mota and he's just attacking by himself 1v5 instead of holding the ball and trying to dominate possession so they can keep their lead and not give up and a last minute goal again. If you as a coach are not able to get a brand new young player to fucking listen to you, that's
Yeah.
not a good sign. And I'm really starting to question his coaching and his leadership right now.
I mean,
Yeah.
Mota has the same problem that Milan had with Fonseca. Exactly, no leadership in the team, not anybody to step up in those kind of moments, and they really don't have any kind of serial winners in their team. They overpaid for a lot of players during the Mercato. They spent a ridiculous amount of money, especially when it comes to Italy. They gambled a lot, and honestly, besides Thuram, nobody seems to justify the price tag they paid for them. Even Coop Miner
Yeah.
for 60 million, he's not playing like it should. Douglas Luiz,
True.
they paid 50 million, he's not playing. Gonzalez, how much? 30, 40 million. Conceição
Yeah.
as well is with an option for 30. This is some serious cash. It wasn't like it was bad planning, bad build up of the team.
And I think, yeah, go ahead. So go ahead, finish that.
Individually, they are good players, but together, I don't think they're the right suit. So I don't know who decided to build a team like this, but again, in the end, Mota, I assume, approved those transfers, and the things they're going as they're going, he should be reliable just as Fonseca, because on average, he has only 2 more points than Fonseca if we win that game in hand.
Quickly before
that's not
Hans
acceptable.
comments, just because I want to be I want to play devil's advocate slightly, because Hans and Andon are in agreement that they didn't agree with Juventus's market. I actually don't pay attention so much to the prices and the numbers and the costs. It's like, they're billionaires, these people. I don't really care what they spent. I actually think the players that they got, I don't care how much they spent for them. Like, I get it. His minor 60 million, whatever. He's not playing like a 60 mil player, but he's a good player and a great midfielder. And he was one of the top midfielders in the league last season.
For many years.
And he's a national team starter. Like, he's not a bad player to sign. Same with Douglas Luiz, who had a phenomenal season in the EPL, who was a starter for Brazil. That wasn't a bad signing. I actually disagree that they didn't have Kefren Turam. We were twerking and begging for Milan to sign that
And he's
kid.
been
and
good for them.
and he's been good. So I think they had a great market. And I think they have a very good team with a lot of potential. I actually think Mata is just fucking up. I think he might not be as good of a coach as I originally thought that he was.
I think maybe this is just what we're seeing from a big club going through somewhat of a rebuild, new manager, a lot of new players,
New manager.
The problem is if we look on the Fiorentina perspective now, like they have a legit chance of being a Champions League team next year. That draw on the Fiorentina side of things, a great result. Performance, they didn't play really that well. Got 2 goals. Moise Kean keeps scoring. This is a guy that Juve let go. Don't ever forget that Moise Kean was doubted by Juve, and they
I was gonna talk about this. Yeah,
he's been on small. Yeah, talk about it, bro.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that Juve, they let a lot of good players go, a lot of good young players, and a lot of players that they owned. Like Houston is doing very well at Bournemouth. They need center backs.
God,
yeah. Sule, maybe he's not doing it very well at Roma right now, but
no one really.
I would think, keeping Sule would have been a great, winger option than to sign like a guy like Nico Gonzalez, for example, something like that. Like Sule has so much potential, in my opinion. He's left-footed,
Right.
Great speed. Yeah, I just don't understand a lot of the players that they recruited and the ones that they let go. Like they were very promising young players in my opinion, like quite a few of them. And then a guy like Keane, maybe he was frustrated he couldn't get some playing time, but I think it would have been better to keep a guy like that when you have no strikers. If you're not even going to buy a freaking striker,
Fiorentina,
and you've given
Fiorentina better striker depth than Juventus.
Yeah, and I was gonna say you've had this guy Vlahovic for how many seasons now? Like 3 seasons, and he hasn't been doing it for you.
I see you
gotta get somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with you guys. I see a lot of similarities with Fonseca's Milan and Motta's Juventus. Like, Adli is one of the top. Adli is one of the top performing midfielders in the league. We let him go. Pobega has better stats than RLC right now. Like, Giroud had more goals and goal contributions than Morata and Abraham combined at this point in the season last year. Like, we let a lot of players go too. They have a makeshift fullback. They're putting McKennie at left back. Like, where we have makeshift fullbacks, it's a similar situation. Lots of new players, lots of productive players for depth were let go. It's
very high expectations from these two clubs as well, being the 2 biggest clubs in Italy.
Oh yeah, very high expectations. There's a lot of similarities for sure.
And I'm glad you touched on that, because I've been saying this for the longest. With the way, and I clocked this about maybe 10 weeks into the season, I don't think AC Milan and Juventus are getting Champions League. I think one of them misses out for sure. Don't know who yet.
So for top 5, you're saying?
Yeah. I think Lazio and Fiorentina are clearly going to be in, like, one of those is going to take because the top 3 is established. Atalanta, Napoli, Inter, they're going to be top 3. I think we could all probably agree on that. The 4th spot, it's up for grabs between Lazio, Fiorentina, even a Bologna and a Milan. And at AC Milan, at least y'all made a change. We'll talk more about that game in a minute, but at least y'all made a change to try and improve. I keep looking at that 11 draws. There's a stat right here about Juventus drawing. Juventus drew 21 matches in 2024 in Serie A. In the history of the competition, only Perugia in 1979 finished in a draw in more of the, they had more draws in a single calendar year with 22. That's going to cost you something, whether that's top four, whether that's the Scudetto race for Juve was over. I never thought that they were going to be Scudetto contenders.
Again, that's stat because they use US hands and a lot of people on the internet use that stat, but he's not defeated. It doesn't matter if more than 70% of the games are draws.
That's
are
a lack
getting
of
killed
mentality
because
and leadership.
Yeah.
A lot of those draws were late equalizers. That's lack of
Yeah.
mentality and leadership. That's all that is.
That's Bremer. That's the Bremer loss. They lost their best player for the whole
Yeah.
season, and they don't even know if he's going to be the same guy when he comes back.
Yeah,
that is a crazy loss.
You need generals and senators in your team that like live and breathe the club and have been there a long time, like leading the troops. Like who does Juventus have? Like is Gatti their most like Juventino like player who's like so like very married to the project and to the colors, like the most capped. And he was what,
That's
a
worrying
bench,
if it is, because
and he
that's
was a
very
bench,
worrying.
and he was a bench player. Like if Bremer was fit, he wouldn't even be playing. You know what I mean? And that's your most Juventino player in the squad. It's a similar situation with Milan. Like, who are the players on the field for Milan in their starting 11 who like live and breathe and like will die on their sword for the colors, and is like the most capped player on the pitch. Like we don't have that in our team. Juventus doesn't have that person in their team, and it shows.
And that ultimately, and again, that's something that's going to cost one of these clubs, either Milan or Juve, or maybe both, of a UCL spot, which would be financially disastrous. So I think that's just because clear, like I said, Fiorentina and Lazio, I think both those teams are going to keep up form to keep them nervous. And also, when a Lazio loses, then a Juve doesn't capitalize. Or when Lazio wins, Juve draw or Milan draw or lose or whatever. So it's going to be fascinating. Not only is the title race fascinating, but top 4 and 5 spots are going to be really, really intriguing. So
The January transfer market will also like give us an indication of how ambitious these clubs are being, or if Gary and Forlani are already have their calculators out and their budget sheets out, and they're like, all right, if we don't finish top 4, if we don't go to Champions League, how are we going to, reshuffle things and make sure we're profitable? So they're either looking at that or they're looking at transfers, and we'll find out this market like what their ambitions are. It's very possible that we're already capitulating. We got a coach with a 6-month contract. And there's a chance we're not, if we do no moves in the January market, to me, the signal from our ownership is that we are not too concerned about finishing top 4. We're just going to reshuffle things in the algorithm. And that will trickle down.
Top 4, and you ain't gonna get top 4 with results like this. You could talk
that
about
will trickle down to the players. That will trickle down to the players. If the January market is quiet and you have a coach on a 6-month agreement, you're signaling to the players, hey, we're chalking up this season. We're probably not going to make Champions League.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. So
like these things, they are human beings. The players, the staff,
they're not
everyone,
stupid,
and they see what's going on. They understand. They're talking to their agents all the time. They're talking to each other all the time. They understand what's going on. They understand how much people are making. They understand the club is making a certain amount. They're not spending it. Yeah.
Yep.
And then you start to think, well, why should I try? Why should I care this much?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
You can only say because it's AC Milan. You can only say that so much when you have owners that are not putting it forward more.
Yeah. And Juventus, on the flip side of that, I feel like their owners are so prideful about like where Juventus should be, that they might show ambition in the January transfer market and give off a totally different impression and energy from the top, and that will trickle down to the players. So like depending on whose January market is better, will tell us like who's actually trying to be ambitious and fight for that top 4 and who has given up on it.
Definitely. No, I agree with you.
I would disagree here because if they didn't want to achieve top 4, they wouldn't have first of all changed the coach. And for the transfer January market, first of all, the coach needs to assess the team to see what kind of position he really needs at the team. And I think Conceição is that kind of a coach that really gonna say, listen, I need this, and this to get to that point. Because again, he had choices to go to other clubs as well. It's not like nobody would take him. So again, accepting the job, getting Conceição, who is the total opposite of Fonseca. He's not a quiet guy. I like what he says over the interviews. So it's now up to him to see what he can do with the squad. And again, if they fail at the end, it's 100% on the players, because you cannot fail on the same type under 2 coaches. You can say one time the coach is the problem, but if you continue to do shit like that with the other coach, that says a lot about you and your professionalism.
What if
Definitely.
Maybe you may even not don't want to stay further than this season, but until you're at the club, until you're here, you give your 100%. Because when you give your 100%, you can go to a better
I mean,
club.
They think they're giving 100%, and Conceição talked about this, but there's another level that you can get pushed to from outside factors.
He said, I don't want them to play what they think is their best. I want them to play better than that.
Well,
so we'll see if they can hit that crazy level. The
But
level
we also they're not playing at 100%.
But Andon, if they do nothing in January, that means Conceição isn't what you just described. He is a yes man. He is willing to accept whatever. He didn't fight for anything. If they do no moves in January,
maybe he gets pissed.
And also, the players will see that. The players will see, okay, they brought him in only on a 6-month contract for $1 million, which is a total band-aid, and they didn't give him a market in January. So that's BS. I blame the owners for that. If we don't finish top 4, and because they did no January market, I don't blame the players for that.
Rock, hold on. Some of the guys will be, I think, excited about not having transfers because they're not going to have extra competition in their places. But others who expect to see replacements for those places that are not, putting up the good number, like in the midfield, for example, that might, give some confidence to Ruben and Benny if they don't see some replacements, or Musa if they don't see replacements there. That might give them some confidence that they can come back, they can maybe assert themselves and do something. But that's it. For the rest of the team, I think it's going to be like, oh my God, we're still stuck with these. Benny's never here. Musa, we don't really know what he's doing. Ruben, he's not really a defensive midfielder. I think the rest of the squad is going to understand those things. Or the striker position, for example, that might motivate Morata, Abraham to not see a striker come in. And Camarda, he's going to think he's going to get a big chance. He's going to, start to maybe score for Milan. But if we do get a striker,
that's one way to look at it.
You might demotivate those strikers that you do have.
That's one way to look at it.
It's a risk you take, though, and I think you have to demotivate them because a real professional, a real player, is going to be motivated. They're going to see this new guy come in. They're going to be like, I need to step it up.
Exactly. Exactly. So
we'll see what kind of mentality this leadership has.
Exactly.
We'll see what kind of mentality these players have.
If Conceição's goal is to unravel the mental issue and uncover who has the strongest mentality in the team, and that's who he wants to keep, that's the direction we have to go in. In January, we have to go get 2 or 3 big players who could be starting players. And then those players
Where would you strengthen? What positions? I'm assuming right back.
No, right back is out of the budget. We spent too much on that position.
Already have. If we could sell Emerson, yes, but I don't see that happening.
They're not going to spend on that position.
Yeah.
Of course, ideally, we would love to strengthen that position, but we're not going to spend on that position because we've already spent so much.
On that topic, before you continue, I like what Conceição is doing. For example, there were tons of rumors Tomori already out of the club. He's gone. As the moment he came, even today, he's going to start. He told him, you want to start? Show me that you deserve to stay at Milan. Show me that you deserve not to be sold. So I don't think
that's scary, honestly, and that scares me. I think we're gonna get.
But that's the approach they need to see. He told them, "You're not kids. You're men. Act like men." And with that kind of approach, I don't think he's gonna accept some sluggish players, some players that don't give 100%, but really give 100%. He's not gonna stood up for the bullshit. And another thing, I know people may not like but the 6-month contracts is a very good contract for us as well, because it gives time. For example, it's not just a 6-month contract. It's if we win Champions League, it's gonna be extended for 2 next 3 years. If we don't, why keep the coach if he doesn't get Champions League as well? You have the open slate to get a reboot in the summer, which we're gonna need if we don't make that Champions League. So
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. If we don't have a January market and then we don't make top 4 as a result, that's not Conceição's fault. I would still extend him if he's doing a good job as a coach.
It's only good for the books, Andon. That's it.
He inherited a fucking mess.
But again, if he's doing a good job, he's gonna get a top 4, because for top 4,
not
places,
really.
Well,
not
really, because for top 4,
Andon, did you put?
We're in 8th place.
Hold on, guys, hold on. Did we put him in the best position to succeed though? If we're not going to give him transfers and we're only putting him on a cheap ass salary, the players are going to laugh.
You're not putting Conceição.
Are you really putting Conceição in the best position? No. Are you really going to be able to point the finger and say you are the problem?
Yeah, of course not. No way.
Look at it.
I don't think so. And he's inheriting a mess. Let's not forget he's inheriting a fucking mess at Milan.
Yes.
Right
there's also 3 other. There's also 3 other clubs ahead of us who are also trying to do good and trying to do better. So
it's only good for
you can't ignore that.
It's only good for the books having that contract.
Exactly 100% what he's getting into. It's not like he doesn't know what happened till now. It's not like he doesn't know the team. He knows exactly what he's getting into. So you cannot say if he doesn't succeed, it's not his fault as well.
So we know exactly what we're getting into. We know exactly what we're doing too, which is an 8th place mess, and hoping and praying that this guy can come in and salvage it. But if you give him no January market, it's not his fault. If we don't finish top 4, if we don't finish top 4, the only person whose fault it is, if Milan doesn't finish top 4, is Ibrahimovic, Forlani, and Gary. Those are the only people to blame if we don't get top 4.
Guys,
wait. You cannot take off a responsibility from the players, because those are the one that plays on the pitch. Everybody is responsible.
No. They appointed an absolutely garbage coach. They appointed a garbage coach and then have no management helping that coach. 0.
Yeah, smash up the likes, people, by the way. Smash up the likes.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you guys to, transition to me. What did you guys think about this game specifically? Hans, I'll start with you because you nailed the prediction. It was kind of scary. Rock was in the chat.
Wait, hold on. Can I summarize Hans's prediction, guys? In the last episode, Hans said. So first of all, Hans went through a 5-minute analytical, intellectual exploration of Milan and Roma, and through the process of going through every little detail, he goes, "I think it's going to be 1-1. Actually, I think Dybala always scores against us. You know what? Dybala's going to score. It's going to be 1-1. We were linked to Dovbyk. You know what? Dovbyk's probably going to be involved in that goal." That is crazy.
So I'll start with you, Hans. So you weren't surprised how the game played out? What were your thoughts on the game?
I mean, I thought we were slightly the better team, but Dybala was probably the best player on the pitch, in my opinion. We couldn't get close to this guy. Terracciano got hauled off at halftime. He wasn't really able to affect the game.
I feel bad for Terracciano. I feel like he's played midfield, left back, center back. And
I have no problem with
Terracciano. And it's never like, oh, he's always getting in the team. We're throwing him in because it's, we need to. So I feel bad for Terracciano. It's not how you develop a player properly. If you think he's good or bad, it doesn't really matter.
But anyway,
he's just cannon fodder. He's not good or bad.
Dybala had free reign, I felt, in the game, and that was, what killed us, or what really hurt us in the end. I didn't think anyone else really in the Roma team was that great. Dovbyk had a few really clear chances. Roma had the best chances, I would say, in the game. They should have won it probably with those chances. They had insanely good chances, clear-cut chances.
So you were lucky to get a draw. I actually missed this game.
I do think we were lucky in that sense because they had by far the best chances, but Milan had created a little bit more. We had maybe established ourselves just slightly
like
more
XP
in the game
or whatever.
Yeah, maybe just a slightly more XG, maybe slightly more possession is what I'm saying from Milan. But Roma, they had the 2 or 3 the best chances, I've thought, like really crazy chances inside the box. And Dovbyk, he hit the post, and then Mike had to make a crazy save on another one. And we got lucky in that sense. Chukwueze had a big injury. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. So the injuries keep piling up in that winger department.
For a month.
There you go, for a month. Another injury for Chukwueze. I think he's been the most injured guy on our team since we've bought him, honestly.
Yeah.
Jimenez was good again.
Jimenez was solid. He had some sparks in the match, I thought, but he didn't get the ball enough. He wasn't able to show it enough. It was just like 2 or 3 moments really that you saw Jimenez driving forward like a Teo would.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I would like to see it some more. And yeah, I'm not surprised by this. Like I said, I went through like my thought process. I think at first I was like, you know what, maybe we'll win because you were saying we would win, and Roma, they're not great away from home. But then I was like talking about this match for like Rock said like 5-10 minutes or something like that, and then I was like, you know what, no, there's no way this is happening. Dybala plays well against us. He's fit. Dovbyk is doing fairly well. Roma, they're doing fairly well now under Ranieri. And we have just
He's
way
breathed
too many
life into a team that I thought had none.
Yeah,
that's what I will say.
I mean, he's a Roma man through and through. Ranieri. People maybe forget that. So this is his club, I would say.
He's also Ranieri. An experienced coach, and he knows what it's like to inherit. He's inherited good teams in his long career. He's inherited bad teams. He's he's been at Valencia, Chelsea. Freaking
Leicester.
He's been a bit. Yeah, Leicester won the title there. Obviously, that's his achievement. It's like the guy does know what he's doing as well. It helps that he's Roman, obviously, and that he loves these cocksuckers. But like, it's
a little bit like a De Rossi effect. Yeah, go ahead, Rock.
I do think though that like if we had a coach like Conceição, for example, coaching this match, Milan would have won. Something I like that Conceição has been saying is that he really analyzes every single individual player on his team and on the opposing team, and he creates the game plan specifically to his opponent. And I think Fonseca was very different in that Fonseca was like, here's my overall philosophy of football and the kind of football I want to play, and it doesn't really matter who's in front of us. Conceição is very different. He's very specific in how he plays against.
He's got attention to detail.
He has a lot more attention to detail. And someone like a Conceição would have been like, Dybala is getting fucking man-marked out of this fucking game. He is the most dangerous player on that pitch.
Exactly.
We are not going to give him a single second on that ball today. And Fonseca doesn't say something like that to his team. He's like, all right, we press here, we drop back here when they have the ball in this area of the pitch. We get this many men behind the ball. Conceição is going to tell the players, Terracciano, when you see Dybala come near you, I want you to fucking kill him. Don't give him a single second on the ball. He's more specific.
Backline, or you play a 3-man midfield with like that destroyer kind of in the middle, that guy who you can tell just follow this guy around. Follow him around.
You have to be specific to your opponent.
He's gonna, maybe float out to the wing. Just follow him out there. It's okay. Leave your position and follow him out there, and just stick with him and mark him out of that game. Push him wide. You might not be able to, dominate him and take it away from him all the time, but just push him wide, push him backwards if he gets the ball.
Yeah, in a battle of like,
or foul him or do anything like that. Just push him, where you want to go. Do exactly what you want. Yeah.
In a battle of Milan versus Roma, if you go in with like just a general game plan, or it's just like, okay, we're just gonna have our footballing philosophies kind of battle it out. There's a chance Roma wins, there's a chance Milan wins, and there's a chance that there's a draw. But against a team like Roma, if you go in with a very specific personnel game plan, Milan beats Roma every single game.
Oh yeah, you have especially this out of form Roma.
So
They weren't
the coach
outperforming.
would have
It's won
coaching
6-0, right?
methodology would have made a big difference in a match like this.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
I think
fair.
so.
What do you got? So obviously Fonseca got sacked after the game, many weeks too late, in my opinion. Conte Sao is manager of Milan, his first game. How much significance do you guys place on this game? And how interested, like, I don't know, I'll start with you, Hans. Like, what are you looking for? How much does it mean to you? I mean, financially, they'll give you a few bucks if you do.
The Super
If you
Copa
win it.
game.
Yeah, what do you think of the
seems
game overall?
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a few players returning from injury. He's only had like a few days with the squad. Juve, they have not as many injuries, but they are out of form. You know, some guys have been injured in Juve, and they're kind of like
drew with them
returning.
last time as well.
Yeah, I'm expecting a tight game. I'm expecting like a 1-1, maybe even 0-0, honestly, because both of our strikers, they can't finish at the moment. So I expect a low scoring game.
Same.
And I do think Milan will be a little bit more up for the occasion, maybe than the Juventus team, because we have the new coach effect, and Motte's, like Rock is saying, he's kind of getting a little more quiet. He's getting tired of this bullshit at Juventus and losing, like, or not losing, but like drawing all these matches and getting scored on late.
Yeah,
he's getting tired of it. He's getting tired of the bullshit. And
Rock. Oh yes,
yeah, I'll go with a draw, and then I think we'll win on penalties. I'm gonna say, or
Rock,
extra
what about
time.
you, bro? How important is this game to you? Or is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even answer your question. I was giving my.
Well, how much do you care about it?
Hans,
like,
is this
it
game
a
important?
disaster if you
Hans?
lose?
What do you
All
think?
right, is this game important? No, not really. It's another
like a
Mickey Mouse
preseason
kind of
game, to
cup.
be
It's
fair.
a trophy.
preseason
So it's a trophy, but it's also just the semifinal. If we lose this, we get some extra well needed rest. So I'm not. I just hope for a good performance. I want to see a performance.
Okay.
It's not that important for me to see us win necessarily. I'm not going to be like, tearing my hair out. What's going to make me tear my hair out more is if we don't get to top 4, top 5 at the end of the season, rather than getting to a final of a Super Copa.
Yeah. Rock, what about you, bro?
Yeah, I mean, even if we lose this game, it pays for Conceição's 6-month salary. So there you go. He's paid just for participating. I don't think the game is important at all. A part of
You don't
me,
see it as like a preseason game.
yeah, a part of me kind of wants to not participate. I just want Conceição to get these players back at Milanello and train the fuck out of them right now. Like this is
He already is.
This is disrupting like his ability to kind of integrate himself and his methods into the team, and he's immediately being thrown into a competition in Saudi Arabia when like he could be using this time so much more wisely to get the ground under his feet with the team. So I also don't feel like getting smacked by Inter in a final and watching them celebrate a trophy in front of our face, to be honest. Like it's not a great great start. Like, brand new coach, and the second thing he's doing is watching Inter celebrate a trophy win in his face. Like,
yeah, that wouldn't be a great start. And what about you, bro? And what's your prediction, Rock, real quick, for the game, actually?
Prediction for the game. I also predict a draw, and I predict that Juventus will win on penalties.
I'm going 0-0 Milan pens. What about you, Andon?
Classic Champions League.
Is this game important? It's yes and a no. In a sense, it's a good way for Fonseca to start. It's a good way. Sorry, for Conceição to start. It's a good game to see exactly on a match day how the players is gonna behave.
They're coming up against a team that's close to you.
How the team plays, how they gonna understand the few days of training, few days on instruction against him. So even if he fucks up this game, we are not that damaged.
Yeah. No, Andon put it perfectly. Yo, Andon, that's actually perfect. Ready? If we win, it's important. If we lose, it's not important. So
again, it's better to fuck up at this game when it's not hurting our standings in the league rather than to have the first game in Serie and drop points again in that game. And again,
Yeah.
as Rock said, if we win, great. It's an extra motivation for the players, extra motivation for Conceição. He starts his tenure with the trophy. So again, it's any way you look at it, it's positive for us. Even if
Yeah.
we lose, it's positive for Conceição to see what exactly this team is missing, what he needs to do, what he needs to change. It's gonna give him an official match to do it. And if he wins, he gets an extra match to get his ideas, an extra match against Inter. And if he wins the trophy, it's super motivating for the players to see. Look, we got a new coach. We immediately got a trophy with him. Let's finish the season good. Let's win some games.
Yeah.
Let's get back. Let's get back into top four again. They have also Champions League football in January. It's a trophy that they may attack. Not gonna win them, but if they do good, they can go to the quarter semi-final again. There is the Copa as well. So these are kind of important matches for the team to prepare under a new coach. It's not going to be a beautiful
What's
game
your
because
score?
I don't expect that much change after 4 days of training. I don't expect
Mm.
that much difference for such a short time. I do
Yeah.
expect them to be a little bit more focused. I do expect them to run a lot more. I expect to see a lot of running because Conceição is known for a coach that likes to press, likes all the players to press. He plays high line, so I'm expecting to see that. I'm looking also maybe a draw or 1-0 victory for Milan.
You say
I
1-0
still
Milan?
think we're gonna go to the final.
You say 1-0 Milan?
Yeah, or win
Fair.
on penalties. Something between that.
Fair enough.
But it's gonna be an ugly game. It's gonna be a very ugly game.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear it. Back to the Serie A recap real quick. Just that was a nice transition on because it's Juve and Milan games. Last 2 games to quickly chat about. Como beat Lecce. Nico Paz continues to just be extraordinary for Como. Van der Brem's a good fullback as well on the right, someone that Milan should be looking at, to be
We were
honest.
linked to him years ago.
He is
We didn't get
way better than Calabria and way better than Emerson Royale. I can promise you. I think he has a bit of discipline problems, but I like so many of it. I mean, he's strong, he's quick, gets forward really well. So yeah, I think Como will probably have enough to stay up if we look at the table. That relegation spot, Verona as well, getting a huge 3-2 win away to Bologna. So that's that. But yeah, this is a pretty good game. Dominguez got 2 goals. But yeah, Santiago Castro own goal late. And then another Pobega red card. That is his second of the year. And it's cost Bologna twice because they lost 3-0 to Lazio away. And Pobega had a red and it was 0-0 at the time. So Pobega, you got to chill out, my man, with the red.
This is good for Milan, seeing a loss like that.
Yeah, because they're above you. Now, going into Matchday 19 for the preview of this week, we have Atalanta still on top with 41 points. Napoli on second with 41. Inter have a game in hand. They're on 40. And if they did win, they would have the goal difference. So they would go, well, obviously on the points, they go up to 43 if they won the game in hand versus Fiorentina away, which won't be an easy game. Lazio, good draw versus the league leaders. We maintain our spot in the top 4. Fiorentina holding off Juve, huge result that could have ramifications later in the year. Roma going to sit in 10th the entire year pretty much because the inconsistencies of their squad and whatnot. Ranieri will do what he can, but I think Roma will stay around there. The relegation fight, I mean, anywhere from, 11th to 18th, it's only 6 points. So a lot of these games are going to be, like I keep talking about, they're just madness because both teams just kind of go for it. But looking at match day 19 people. So there's three games to be played in about 10 or my internet glitch out? My back? Or did I never
Yeah,
glitch
you're
out?
back.
It
Can you
glitched
hear me
out, but
still?
you're back.
Yeah, you're here now.
All right, cool. So yeah. All right. Let's look at match day 19, people. Venezia, Empoli. What we saying? Score predictions, thoughts on either of the teams. I personally have probably Empoli been losing a bit recently. Venezia played well.
against Napoli. So I'll go for a 2-1 Venezia. Rock,
2-1 Venezia as well.
Hans.
I'm gonna say 2-2.
And
I'm gonna go 2-2. Empoli's gonna.
Yeah,
Keep
I'm
it
gonna
together.
agree with Hans. It's a 2-2 because Empoli are playing hot and cold, and I think Venezia are certified team that's gonna go down. So I don't think they can do much.
They're fighting well though right now, Venezia. That's for sure. They're in good form. It's a home match against a mid-table team. You know, they're gonna try and bring it, but I think they also realize that this is probably a team that is way better than them, and they'll take the point. That's probably what they're gonna think, Venezia, in my opinion.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
they'll be happy with the point.
Definitely. Now, one of the 3 big boy games of the weekend. Fiorentina, hosting Napoli here. And this clash is significant because obviously Napoli going for that Scudetto and Fiorentina looking for 3 points to equalize with Lazio. And they would overtake us on goal difference. What are your thoughts on this game, boys? This is going to be, I was looking at Fiorentina's head-to-head versus Napoli at the Stadio Artemi Frank. This is going to be a great game. I don't know if I've quite decided what I'm going to go with because Fiorentina have been really good this year. And Napoli, in some of these games, they get the 1-0 win or the 2-1 or whatever. But there's chances at the end for their opponents that, Venezia don't take or Genoa don't take because they just don't have the quality. But I'd probably say draw, considering Fiorentina, how good they've been this season, and also that Napoli, I think, will slip up in one of these. And yeah, talk to me, guys. What we saying about this one? Rock, you could go first. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very good game. I feel like Antonio Conte is going to play defensive and kind of stifle and sit back and hit on the counter. I feel like he's going to give Fiorentina possession. I don't know. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll do the opposite. I don't know. It's a tricky one. If I'm the Fiorentina coach, I'm not sure what Napoli's going to do in this game. I feel like it could be cagey.
Yeah, Palladino, who's done a great job at Fiorentina.
You
And he
know
did
what?
well as well.
I think this game, despite the logos and the colors and the branding and where they are in the table, I
and the
think,
money spent as well.
yeah, I think that both teams are going to drop a goose egg. I think that this is going to end up being cagey and 0-0, and disappoint all of us casuals, all of us neutrals. We're going to be disappointed.
What you saying, Hans, about this one?
I'll agree with Rock. I think it's going to be 0-0. I think that Fiorentina lately they hit a bad patch a little bit, I think, and I think Napoli also they haven't really looked convincing to me when I've seen them and look at especially when I look at the score lines that they win by. I know that's what Conte does, but when you look at the stats and the score lines, it looks like Napoli is due like a loss or a draw or something like that. Honestly,
yeah, you look at these results from Napoli lately; they're all tight games. Besides
for the most
Udinese,
part, they lost against Lazio. You can see, that you guys had a good win there. And yeah, I'm gonna say it's like a 0-0, or I'll go 1-1. How about that? I'll say that Keane will score something like that, and then they'll pull something back. I think Kvicha is back now, so
Lukaku penalty.
He played against Venezia.
Yeah, but something is not totally clicking with both these teams right now, in my opinion. And Fiorentina being the home team and trying to push for European football, I think they'll get something out of the match. I'm going to go with like a 1-1.
I'm going to go Dodo takes Kvicha down in the box and Lukaku misses a penalty and places both hands onto
He
his
missed
sweaty...
a penalty against Venezia. I forgot to mention that.
Oh,
Lukaku,
yeah. I think he misses
a fucking penalty.
He misses another penalty. He puts both of his hands onto his sweaty bald head with his mouth gaping wide open like, oh. That's what I predict.
Yeah, I'm happy.
And Don, what about you?
Oh, this is a Napoli victory, 1-0 victory for Napoli. Atalanta are coming in at the very bad end of 2024.
Or
They like lost
Fiorentina.
3 games. Fiorentina. They lost like 3 games, drew one, and Napoli. They win this kind of games 1-0. It says 1-0 all over internet. So I'm going with the Napoli win here. They don't have nothing else to play till the end of the season. Literally nothing. They don't have the Coppa, no Europe. It's just Serie. And I think they're gonna just win these games like that. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0.
They just don't look convincing. I feel like you can't do that. Somebody's gonna
They
figure
don't need
you
to
out
look
and
convincing.
punish you.
They're gonna
Yeah,
win
but somebody's
1-0.
gonna punish you eventually.
I don't see Fiorentina punishing them right now.
You know what I do see? I see Moise Ken scoring, so I'll give Fiorentina at least a goal, but I'll go for a Napoli 2-1 win. I'll go 2-1. But Fiorentina, I think, are gonna be the better team in the balance of play. But yeah, this should be a good one. This should be a good one. So that'll be definitely one. I'm probably gonna do a watch along for that. Verona Udinese. Udinese actually doing pretty damn well in the league, to be honest. If I pull the table back up, Udinese right now in 9th at 4 whole ass points ahead of Roma and only 3 behind Milan, albeit Milan have a game in hand. So actually Udinese are one of the low-key surprise packages of the season. So they play Verona, who did just beat Bologna away. What are y'all saying about this one?
Nah, I'm looking. I think it's gonna be a draw. Udinese are on a good form. They're in a good position, but also, Verona has been playing very good in the last few games, the last 3 games. So I'm looking at a draw for this game.
I think that bottle job, when you 2-0 up against Torino, who struggled to score goals, I can't lie, I give Verona probably the edge in this game. I'll go 2-1 Verona. I think they'll get some. What about you, Hans?
I'll go 2-2.
2-2. Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be a good result for Verona, to be honest. Because Udinese, and also remember, Udinese recently beat Fiorentina.
I was gonna say they're not an easy team to play against.
And they were on a mad run. So
Yeah, my prediction is Udinese 2-0.
Yeah.
no, definitely not. Rock, what you saying about this one? Score line.
2-0.
Any thoughts on the team?
2-0 Udinese.
Verona? Udinese. Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Fairs. Monza Cagliari, big relegation game. I don't trust Monza to finish in front of goal. That's been one of the big problems this year. I'll go for a 1-0 Cagliari in that one, probably.
Same for me. 1-0 Cagliari.
And like we were talking about earlier when they were playing Inter, they put in a good performance that first half in particular.
Yeah, based on that performance in the first half, and Monza still getting their feet settled with a new coach, I think Cagliari will snatch a 1-0.
I'm going 1-0 Cagliari. Rock, same thing. Hans, what you saying about Monza Cagliari?
You guys are pretty convincing. I didn't know Monza just changed their coach finally. They fired Nesta. Okay.
Yeah, he was fucking awful, man.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, they've got a lot of injuries, Monza, but yeah, the drop off from Palladino leaving is there for all to see, and Colpani going to Fiorentina as well. What you saying for this?
Actually,
one,
Cagliari has a worse score record than Monza, even though they're above them.
That's true. That is true. So what are you saying then?
I'll go 0-0.
And
yeah, this is probably the game between two of the worst teams in the league. I don't expect nothing much from both of them. Probably a 0-0 draw. Interesting fact, Monza doesn't have that bad of a defense. Even if you see them,
actually, the defense is actually they don't. Yeah,
there are like
right.
7-8 teams that have worse record than them.
Yeah, they're gonna have to lean on that.
Their attack is terrible.
They're like Everton in the Premier League because Everton actually have like a top 8 defense, but their goals are fucking awful. So both those teams just need some Need some goals there. So you're going 0-0. I'm going 1-0. What's it called? Rock is going 1-0 and Hans 0-0. Fairs. Lecce Genoa. Another well, this isn't really I think Genoa, to be honest, I think they're gonna be fine of relegation ultimately, because I do think they're 3 worse teams than them. So for this one, probably go with I'll go with the Genoa 2-1 win. Genoa again, just like they did last weekend away to Empoli. What about you, Rock?
Gosh, man, you keep going first and you keep saying exactly what I'm predicting. So I want to do something different. That's like 3 in a row now that you went first and you had the same thing as me.
Yeah, you can go the same. I don't care.
I don't want to say the same
what
again.
would you put money on? What would you
I,
put
I,
money
wa-
on? That's how I
I was gonna say 2-1 Genoa, but
Okay.
since you said that, the chances of it happening are lower that we both have the same thing and that it's right. So now probability wise, I should change it up. I'm gonna say 1-1 draw.
Hans?
Genoa to score first, Lecce to get a late equalizer.
What about you,
Um,
Hans?
I'll go 1-0 Genoa. Friendrup is
And Hans?
gonna have a good game. I'll say that.
Friendrup is a fucking fantastic midfielder.
Before
Love
Milan
that.
signs him.
Yeah, for real. That'd be a good signing for y'all. Should try to make that happen in January. What about you, Andon? Lecce hosting
Well,
Genoa.
Lecce is the worst attacking team in Serie this season.
Yeah,
They have
they're
only
bad.
scored 11 goals, so I don't see them scoring today as well. So probably it's going to be like a Genoa win, like a 2-0 or something like that.
2-0. Fairs. Torino Parma. Do I trust Parma to win? Even though they did just win against Monza. Torino are kind of tough to. I'll go with 2-2. Desmond. Give me a Desmond for Torino Parma.
I'm gonna go 2-1 for Parma. I think Parma's gonna get another win. I think Parma's gonna be a surprise team that gets random wins. I think they're gonna string 2 wins back to back finally.
I'm gonna say 2-1
Is
Torino.
your audio? I think your audio was glitching a bit, Rob. Say that
I was
again?
saying I think Parma gets a win here and there, but I think they're finally gonna string 2 in a row.
Yeah, they have the goals in their team to definitely. I mean, they've scored more goals than Roma. They just need to
Is
fix
this
up
at
that
home or away
defense.
for Parma?
Away for Parma.
Whatever. I'll still back them. 2-1.
Fairs. Hans, what you saying?
2-1 Torino. I don't think Parma are that lucky to get 2 wins in a row like that. And they struggle, I think, defensively quite a bit. They have a very young back line in general. So yeah, 2-1 Torino. I think they're a better team for the most part.
Oh, my fucking Wi-Fi. Yo, my bad. My Wi-Fi sucks today. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you
Can
fine.
y'all hear me and see? Sorry, Hans. Yeah, Hans. What were you saying for this one? Sorry, Torino Parma.
I was saying I'm gonna go 2-1 Torino. I don't think Parma are that lucky to get consecutive victories like that. I don't think they're there yet. Their defense is very young and they let in quite a few goals. I'm gonna go 2-1 Torino. I think they're a pretty decent side, even though they had some big injuries with Zapata and then Bellanova leaving. I think Torino they're at home. They could maybe push for Europe still in their season. So, yeah, I think that they can beat Parma. I think it was kind of a lucky victory that Parma got as well in that last game. The way that when I look at it,
Yeah, that game was nuts.
with the red card and stuff like that.
It could have gone either way. It could have gone.
And
either
I've seen
way.
that. I've seen that from Parma in like a lot of their victories. It's like the opposite team doing something stupid with a red card. I've seen that happen
Yeah.
in like several of their games when they got victories. So I don't know. I feel like the best that I saw of them was against Milan earlier in the year against us, and then since then they're just like, yeah, they're
Inconsistent.
very, very, very inconsistent. And they need help a lot to get the victories, I think. But they're gonna survive. They're gonna do okay. And yeah, Torino 2-1.
And Don?
I'm going with a 1-1 draw. It's
1-1?
a Sunday. Yeah, it's a Sunday game. Nothing special. 1-1. Boring game.
Fairs. I'll go, like I said, I'll go 2-2. Now, the feature match of the Serie A weekend. Lazio versus Roma. Now, albeit Roma have gotten in better form, and I'm sure some of these I don't have the match facts there. What the fuck? Look, this I mean, this game is the most emotional and crazy and hectic I get when we win. I feel like I could fucking just, jump out a window. And then when we lose, I feel like I want to jump out a fucking window. So emotions are high at my place. Roma's form, like Hans was talking about last stream, it's getting a little bit better. And Roma do have a good record overall in derbies when.
Oh yeah, I can't hear you now, Steve.
Jesus Christ, my bad. My Wi-Fi is fucking pissing me off. Anyways, overall, like going into this one, I still feel like Lazio, we've been just the far better team than them. And I don't think Ranieri's figured out quite yet. It's going to be a super tense game. I feel like we have the firepower, though, that Roma haven't quite found yet. So I'll go for 2-1 Lazio, but I don't know. What are you guys saying for this one?
I'll go 1-1. I'll go 1-1. I think Lazio might open the scoring, but Roma will fight back somehow, maybe. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, fairs. Rock, what you saying about this one?
I feel like Lazio put in a really good shift against Atalanta, and they'll be disappointed to only come away with a draw and motivated by how well they performed.
Yeah.
And then Roma, Dybala had a good game, so that means he's going to be hurt, injured, and have a bad game.
Oh.
For real.
I think Lazio wins this 2-1.
So, fucking hope so, man. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going 2-1. Hans, what was your prediction? 1-1?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Lazio score first, but Roma are gonna fight back. Dybala is gonna be in form, and he's gonna score on you guys probably.
Dybala had a good game, Hans. That means he's hurt and injured and
well, he had a good
sore.
game against Parma. No, he's had good games in a row.
Then he's definitely going to be hurt and sore for the next one. 3 games in a row? No way.
Nope. He's gonna be ready, I think. Ranieri's got him ready.
He's going to have a knock in training before the match, and it's going to be iffy whether or not he'll start, and then he will start, and he'll be slow.
We'll see.
And what about you? Roma Lazio, the Derby della Capitale.
It's going to be a bloody game. It's going to be a few red cards like always.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, there usually is, bro.
Yeah.
What? Who
do
you have? No, go on.
Either it's going to be like a high-scoring game, like 3-2, something like that, or it's going to be a 0-0. Something between those.
What you got, man? What are you feeling more of?
Nah, I'm looking at the 0-0 for today.
Nah.
I mean, yeah, I could see it, They're usually, I'm trying to think of the last derby that we had where it was a 0-0. It's probably been a while. I know under Sadi, they were always tense and there weren't many goals, but when Inzaghi was around, there were a lot of goals in these. But I think Baroni being more offensive minded and Ranieri being more kind of defensive minded, but clearly they played some good ball against you guys and generated some chances. So yeah,
Yes,
I'm
they
a
did,
bit
big
nervous.
time.
I'm still confident going into the game because I'm just gonna go with my gut in terms of I've seen Roma all of this year and what they've been and what Lazio have done for like body of work this year. So I feel good going into it, but it's a derby. That's always the fucking nervous part about it. So what's you said 0-0, Andon?
Yep.
Hans?
I'm gonna go 1-1. Roma fight back.
Okay. And what's it called?
Yeah,
Rock
2-1.
said 2-1.
Yeah, Lazio needs a striker, bro.
We have two. What Dia plays in the 10 in the 4-2-3-1.
Diaz
And-
playing like a 9.5. He's not really.
I cannot believe how much Lazio scores because I think their forwards are trash.
Get Duvan
to be honest.
Zapata again, yo.
Well, you like Zaccagni, right, Hans? Are you a Zaccagni guy?
He's not a striker though, but
He always finds
I don't
himself
think
on the
he's
wing.
very good.
He's a goal scoring winger though, like a left forward.
Who's your first striker?
Castellanos, and that guy is a fucking. It's a lottery pick. You don't know.
Bro, that guy pisses me off. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh,
I liked him a lot, and I was excited about him at the start of the season. I put him in my fantasy team, and he pissed me off. So he's so freaking Jekyll.
Erratic.
He's so Jekyll and Hyde. He makes decisions that I'm just like, what is wrong with you?
He's got 7 goals in 16 Serie A games, but that could have been a lot more.
He's a weird player, dude. He confuses
He's a good.
me.
The thing is, he's a good player.
He's good.
Because like first touch, good. Movement, good. He's a pest. You like playing against him, movement wise, like as a center back, you don't really want to play those guys because they just run at you.
He reminds me of Darwin Nunez because he's annoying and good, and has potential, but so random and inconsistent.
The finishing is the most inconsistent, and that's the problem. Because you have like a guy like Icardi who didn't offer fuck all. His finishing was very consistent.
Then you have him who offers a lot, and then
yeah. But yeah, I ultimately I think for Lazio goals, I'll go with Zaccagni scoring, and I'll go with Guendouzi. I think Guendouzi scores because he had that chance versus Atalanta to hit the bar. He's always a goal threat. So, and then I think for Roma, probably Dybala scores, to be honest. So that'll be a really, hopefully it's a nice, comfortable Lazio win. But for the neutral, should be a really good game. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. Here, people, big up everybody for joining. Like Hans, Rock, and Andon, appreciate y'all joining. Hans, you got anything on the YouTube coming up?
Sorry. The channel right now is going to be out for a few weeks. We've got hit with some copyright strikes, so we got to take it easy for a little bit. So in like 2 weeks or so, we'll pick it back up again. We're going to show all the Primavera matches for sure there for Milan, and the Futuro matches for sure. We're going to have the live watch-alongs for Milan as usual, but we got to wait a couple days for that. Yeah. We are starting a second channel though, and you will be able to watch them, I believe, tomorrow. I think it'll be ready to go by then. Right now, we can't do any lives on it for like the first 24 hours, but I believe it'll be ready to go tomorrow, and you can watch the Lazio Milan Primavera match there, and some other matches I think I'm going to show on there as well tomorrow. Hopefully, it'll be ready to go.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, Milan Lab on YouTube, people. No excuse.
Yeah, or just Milan Lab 2. Milan Lab 2. You will see it. It's that's going to be the new one where we have some other games on there sometimes if the channel, needs to take a break for some copyright strike stuff.
Cool. Big up for joining, man. Same with
thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And to Rock. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up here, people. Forza Lazio. Enjoy the Serie A this weekend, people, and the Supercoppa. Peace out.
Forza Milan.